Fatigue after 50 often feels personal, as if the body has quietly decided to do less, to offer less, to expect less from life. But biology tells a different story. Energy is not something we lose because of age. It is something the body redistributes based on signals it receives every day. Every cell is constantly asking a simple question. Is this a body that needs power or one that needs to conserve? How we live answers that question long before age does. After 50, energy begins to feel different, not because the body has suddenly become weaker, but because it has become more selective. The body no longer produces energy blindly or wastefully. Instead, it responds carefully to the signals it receives from daily life. Energy is not a fixed reservoir that slowly drains with age. It is a dynamic process, constantly regulated by how safe, supported, and purposeful the body believes its environment to be. When people feel tired after 50, it is often not because energy is gone, but because the body has decided to conserve rather than invest. At the most fundamental level, energy is produced inside cells. Tiny structures convert oxygen and nutrients into the force that allows muscles to move, the brain to think, and organs to function. These systems do not simply wear out on a schedule. They adjust their output based on demand. When daily life asks for engagement, movement, and adaptation, energy production stays active. When daily life becomes predictable, sedentary, stressful, or emotionally draining, the body reduces output to match perceived need. This is not failure. It is efficiency. After 50, the body becomes more sensitive to these signals. In younger years, the system tolerates inconsistency. Late nights, irregular meals, emotional stress, and long periods of inactivity can be absorbed without immediate consequence. Over time, however, the margin for error narrows. The body begins to respond more honestly. Fatigue becomes a message rather than a malfunction. It signals that the internal environment is asking for adjustment. One of the strongest signals the body uses to regulate energy is movement. Movement tells cells that energy is required. Muscles contracting increase blood flow, oxygen delivery, and metabolic activity. This stimulates energy production at the cellular level. When movement is regular, even gentle, the body maintains the machinery needed to generate energy efficiently. When movement becomes rare, the body downregulates that machinery. Energy feels lower not because the body cannot produce it, but because it has learned that it does not need to. This explains why rest alone does not restore energy after 50. Prolonged rest without movement teaches the body to conserve. Gentle activity, paradoxically, restores vitality because it reverses the conservation signal. Walking, stretching, light physical tasks, all of these quietly tell the body that energy will be needed again tomorrow and the day after. Over time, the system responds by making energy more available. Stress plays an equally powerful role. The nervous system constantly evaluates whether the environment feels safe or demanding. Chronic stress keeps the body in a state of alertness. This consumes energy rapidly and inefficiently. After 50, prolonged stress becomes more draining because recovery takes longer. The body begins to protect itself by reducing overall energy output. Fatigue becomes a shield against overload. When stress is reduced, not eliminated, but managed, the body recalibrates. Calm routines, predictable schedules, and moments of quiet signal safety. Safety allows energy to be distributed more evenly instead of being hoarded for emergencies. Many people notice that when their days feel calmer, energy does not spike dramatically, but it lasts longer. The body shifts from survival mode to maintenance mode. Sleep is another critical signal. Sleep tells the body when to repair and when to restore. After 50, sleep quality matters more than duration. Fragmented sleep disrupts hormonal rhythms that regulate alertness and motivation. When sleep becomes inconsistent, the body compensates by reducing daytime energy to protect itself. This is often misinterpreted as aging, when it is actually a response to disrupted signals. When sleep is regular and protected, the body receives clear instructions. Hormones stabilize. Inflammation decreases. Energy becomes more predictable. This does not always result in feeling energized in the dramatic sense, but it reduces the heaviness and exhaustion that many associate with later life. Stability replaces fluctuation. Nutrition sends constant signals as well. The body does not respond well to extremes after 50. Irregular meals, excessive sugar, dehydration, or restrictive eating create uncertainty. Uncertainty triggers conservation. Balanced meals eaten at regular times tell the body that resources are available. When resources feel reliable, energy production becomes steady. Blood sugar stabilizes, inflammation quiets, and mental clarity improves. Mental and emotional signals are often underestimated. The brain consumes a large portion of the body's energy. Chronic worry, unresolved fear, or a lack of purpose drains this system continuously. After 50, the body becomes less tolerant of mental overload. Energy drops not because the mind is weak, but because it is overworked. When the mind feels engaged but not pressured, through learning, connection, routine, or contribution, energy changes quality. It becomes quieter but more reliable. The nervous system no longer braces for constant threat. Muscles relax. Breathing deepens. Energy is no longer wasted on tension. The body also pays attention to meaning. Purpose is not an abstract concept biologically. When life feels purposeful, the brain releases chemicals that support motivation and resilience. When days feel empty or disconnected, energy drops as the body conserves resources. This is why engagement, social interaction, responsibility, curiosity can dramatically affect vitality after 50. All of these signals interact. Movement improves sleep. Sleep stabilizes hormones. Hormones influence energy. Energy affects mood. Mood affects motivation to move. This cycle can work in either direction. When fatigue sets in, it often creates a loop that reinforces itself. Breaking that loop does not require dramatic change. It requires sending clearer signals. The most important shift after 50 is understanding that energy is responsive. It is not something to chase aggressively or forcefully. The body responds best to consistency, not intensity. Small, regular actions send stronger signals than occasional effort. A short walk every day communicates more clearly than an intense workout once a week. A calm bedtime routine sends a stronger signal than sleeping late occasionally. When people stop blaming age and start listening to signals, fatigue becomes informative rather than frustrating. It points toward imbalance, not failure. The body is asking for clearer rhythms, gentler stress, steadier nourishment, and more frequent engagement. Energy after 50 does not return as endless stamina. It returns as reliability. The ability to move through the day without dragging. The clarity to focus without strain. The motivation to participate without forcing. This kind of energy supports life rather than chasing productivity. The body is not withdrawing from life after 50. It is negotiating. It wants to know whether its effort will be supported. When daily signals say yes,